What's good, friends and family? Mr. Flip Flop, how y'all doing? Man, I am super excited right now. Just did the first adventure video, Adventures with Flip. It's in the editing process right now. Hopefully I had that released in a couple days. Right now we're gonna go into some things and respond to some questions about living abroad. Now, we did the video, living abroad, why? Living abroad, how? Living abroad when? Excuse me. Also did Paradise Life, which is my views, my personal experience on living here in this country. Now this is basically living abroad. Once you're here, how do you go about living? How do you go about your day-to-day? How do you put everything together? Met some good dudes the past couple days. Went and opened bank accounts. One with a 5-year plan, one with a 6-year plan. You know, that's really great because they're putting a plan together for when they retire to sit down and enjoy life in paradise. You know, I have some banking info in this video. Yes, Mr. Flip Flop got off his ass and went and got info for you. I had the info already, but I wanted to have it on paper so that I can read it to you verbatim and there's no hearsay. And you can, this way you ain't got to just take my word for it. You know, paradise has its ups and downs. You know, for me, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to just tell you it's sweet. I got a video coming up, horror stories in paradise. There's been some bad things that happened around here. I had a couple incidents. One story I'm going to give you is the dengue story. You know, I damn near died out here. You know, so it's still life because you have to live it. But there are good and bad to everything. It's not just perfect all the time and sunshine and palm trees. You know, like the reason for everything I'm doing is to bring you all these years of experience, you know, to guide you in the right direction. Learning from my trials and tribulations, all the mistakes I made, all the good and the bad decisions I made, to help you make it easier for yourself when you decide to make that move. You know, as Hov said, I did that, so hopefully you won't have to go through that, you know, a couple rap lines. But yeah, so, you know, just if you get anything from my channel, hopefully you know more today and tomorrow than you knew yesterday. That's pretty much all I want for you. I want everybody to have a little bit more knowledge than they had previously. For me, I had my cousins hold my hand as a tourist. You know, they brought me here my first 2 trips. And they showed me the ropes as a tourist. But what I lacked was someone to show me the ropes living here. Like I said, I freestyled. I've done that my whole life. That's just me. Because I believe in me and I make those type of decisions. Are they the smartest decisions? No. But this is the way I've lived my 40 years of life. And it's worked out pretty well on my behalf. No one showed me how to live here. No one showed me how to spend my money. No one showed me how to search for apartments. You know, I'm going to be blunt, and I hope this doesn't make anybody upset. If you're spending money or spending for prices like we spend in the States or Europe or Canada, that's not smart. That's blatantly stupid. This is a third world country. There's no reason you should be spending what we spend back there down here. Right now, the dollar is 50.25, actually 50.30, excuse me, but I rounded off 50.25, okay? So $1,000 is over 50,000 pesos. You understand where I'm getting at? This is a third world country. There's no reason you should be spending $1,500 on an apartment. As I told you, I had a friend who was paying $1,250 for an apartment. My apartment is bigger than his, and I pay $1,000 less. I mean, it's just the knowledge, which I had to learn myself. I was coming every 2 weeks. I was paying for condos and hotels. My first apartment was $400 because my friend pulled my coat and said, "Hey man, you're here too much. Why don't you have an apartment?" So I'm paying $600 a week for a condo or a hotel. I go get an apartment. My first apartment's $400 for 30 days. Amazing. I've had apartments $400, you know. It's all about investigating and looking and searching. So I'm trying to give you the ins and outs and the outs and ins on how to better manage yourself when you live down here. You can go get a nice house. Case in point, I tell everyone, I had a house, me and my friend had a house, $525 a month for a 4-bedroom, gated community, brand new house. I've seen people with smaller houses pay $1,500, pay $1,000, and the house is smaller. They're not taking the due diligence to investigate, okay? So for me, I'm trying to help you guys investigate on how to live abroad, how to get the better bang for your buck, excuse me, how to better enjoy your experience, you know? Which, like I said, I had no one to show me. I had to learn on my own. Everything I know from the over 10 years I've been here, I learned on my own. I'd say it took me about 6 years to really get all this information because there was a lot of things I was doing based off my American mindset, thinking, no big deal. Oh, it costs that? No big deal. When I realized, wait a minute, that's not how much it costs. This is how much it costs, you know? As I explained to you guys, if you look at my DR Cribs Volume 1, I didn't go to the furniture store anymore. I went to the guy who made the furniture, who sells to the furniture store. Before the furniture store triples the price to you. You know, these are things I didn't know. I had to learn these things, and I'm trying to teach you these things as well so you can make the move to live abroad. You can get you a $1,000 house, but I would hate to see you in a $1,000 apartment. Okay, I have a Canadian couple, good friends of mine. They come through the bar every Wednesday. They have a condo and a house. A condo and a house. Combined with renovations, they spent $250,000. Combined with renovations. And they got mahogany, nice stuff. They got like really nice stuff in their house, in their apartment. They kind of customize it for them and and they rent the apartments out. So $250,000, they have a house and a condo. But you're still thinking with that American mindset. You're still thinking with that up north mindset that you need to spend $800,000 to get something. That's not how it works down here. Once again, this is a third world country. Your money goes a long way as long as you manage it properly. So, as I said, this video is going to be living abroad. Once again, about money. I know millionaires down here. Like, I personally know millionaires. You'll never know they're millionaires. They don't floss. They make you pay your part of the bill. And they live comfortably. Because their money goes even longer down here than it does back home. And they're just living a life. You know? I know guys who are thousandaires. You know, just have a few thousand to spare. Their retirement is about $2,000, $3,000. And they live very good down here. You don't need to be blowing a bag every time. I know where to go if I want to go get a drink and get a $20 bottle of rum. I also know where to go to get a $45 bottle of vodka. I'm a vodka drinker. So every now and then I like to get some vodka. As long as I found where to spend my money and how to make my money stretch, it works in your benefit. You know, if you're spending in all tourist areas, yes, you're going to spend more money. But if you learn where to go in those tourist areas or outside of those tourist areas, you spend less money. You know, when minimum wage is about $225 a month, how do you think the locals live? They live because the price of everything is lower here. Okay, so minimum wage being $200 to $225 a month, and that just went up, gets you by as long as you know how to spend your money. Okay, so living abroad, let me get my bank paper here. I went to the bank. I walked myself to the bank because I didn't want to sit there and say anything and then someone said, hey, that's not right. We're going to read it off the paper. But first, getting acclimated to Dominican Republic. All right, so as I said, this is living abroad. So did you take the time to speak Spanish? I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people are taking the time to learn Spanish. I don't know if it's because of me, but I'm so proud because you have no idea how much it will enhance your experience. It will take you to a whole nother level if you're speaking Spanish and you decide to live here or come in here long term. You want to speak Spanish. You know, you want to be able to have that person speak English when you're home. They want you to speak Spanish because they want to understand you and you want to understand them. So hopefully you learn to speak Spanish. Hopefully you've taken some type of application. I have people that taking classes, amazing. You know, it's great. It's a great feeling to know that people are trying to embrace the culture in some type of way, you know, and the locals appreciate it as well. Let's see. Okay, so living abroad, great climate, of course. You know, it's usually around 70, 80 degrees all the time. Gets hot in the 90s to 100s every now and then. But I will say this, if you ever see someone riding around in a jacket at night, it gets pretty chilly at night. You know, you have your 60 and 50 degree nights at times. So it does get pretty chilly at night. So the climate's pretty cool. I mean, for this area in the North Coast, it's nice and cool. I'd say from 12 to 2 or 12 to 3, excuse me, in certain parts of the year it gets really hot. But I'm under a fan, so I couldn't tell you much, and I don't walk around under the sun a lot. And neither do the locals. They don't walk around under the sun. All right, so as we discussed before, your income, your budget. I stress budget, okay? The reason I stress budget is you need to be planning a budget to know what you're gonna spend and how you're gonna spend it. Your food budget, okay, if you are retired and you make $2,500 to $3,000 a month that comes in every month, or the 15th and the 30th, however it works for you, you need to know how much you're gonna be spending each month, how much your rent is, how much your food bill is, how much you're partying, you know, if you go out and drinking. So you need to know these things. Budget is very important. You want to know where your money's going. Okay? So I tell everyone, I don't care if you have $2,000 a month, $1,000 a month, $50,000 a month. You should have a budget based on how you want to live and how much you want to spend. Okay? So you know where your money's going. Because the one thing about the Dominican money, let me pull some out for you guys. The one thing about Dominican money is, to us, it can kind of look like Monopoly money, you know? And you can blow this and not think about it. A lot of people think this is $1. This is $2. This is $1. You know, so Dominican money sometimes can feel like Monopoly money in your pocket, and you could just blow it, you know? So always budget. Because one thing I realize is, when you're out enjoying yourself or going on little trips or whatever, you start to spend money and not realizing how much you're spending. So budget yourself. That's a big thing. You can look into residency and the visa process. That is a long, tedious process. I go through my lawyer. You can get a lawyer, or there are certain companies. I'm actually waiting to speak to one company that actually do the process for you. Now, you can do it yourself, but it's easier to have a local company or lawyer do it for you because they know the steps and they can handle it a little bit easier than we can. All right, it is a tedious process. You have to get temporary twice and then permanent. So it's a process. So you can look into that if you want to get residency or visa, or permanent visa, excuse me. But it is a long process. I won't go into that into this video. You can hit me up. I'll send you the link to a lawyer and the link to the person who handles the company that handles those visas. It's actually someone in Sosua and someone in Puerto Plata. That's actually their business. But it's a tedious process. But if you're interested, you can go for it. Low crime rate. You know, it's not a lot of crime. You may see things here and there, but it's rare. Unless you're out late at night, drunk, stupid, acting a fool, flossing money, you don't have nothing to worry about. I mean, crime is very rare. It happens, yes, it happens everywhere in the world, but it's not what people think it is, the danger, as some people would say. It's not dangerous at all. It's a very laid-back country. Like I said, you have your bad apples as you have everywhere, but crime is very low, you know, and a lot of them are afraid to go to jail, afraid for the punishment of doing crime. Now, what I will say, if you ever see videos of mob violence, and they say, oh, he robbed somebody, they take that very seriously, because the mindset is, I'm poor and you're poor, so you're gonna steal from me? How are you gonna steal from me and I don't have anything? So that's how that mob justice comes in when someone's stealing. They really take to heart when someone's a thief, because it's like, well, I'm poor, but you're stealing from me. I don't have anything, but you're gonna steal from me. So, you know, The crime is like, I say really minimal. I haven't experienced it much. I haven't seen it much. You get your scams here and there, but most of the time it's people slipping up, making mistakes. So I'd say crime is really low. You have all races, white, black, Canadian, American, European. People living fine down here without drama. Like I said, it's fairly safe. Now, let's get into the banking. I did all this work. I walked a whole 100 yards and then walked another 200 yards. Okay. So you do not need to be a resident to get a bank account in Dominican Republic. So the first one is my paper right here. I have it in English and Spanish. Now I already knew this stuff, but I said, let me get the paperwork so I can read verbatim. So for Banco Popular, now Banco Popular in Dominican Republic is not connected to Banco Popular in New York, or the state, excuse me. Banco Popular in New York is Wells Fargo. Banco Popular in Dominican Republic is Banco Popular in Dominican Republic. Two separate banks. So for Banco Popular in Dominican Republic, requirements for opening for foreigners, that would be us. A banking reference letter, a bank from your country. B, 2 reference letters from local people, Dominican, with their ID number in it. C, 2 commercial references, a bill statement of a service you pay in your in your country, example, telephone, electricity bill, or something like that. Some type of bill from back home. D, both a job reference and your income tax. If self-employed, last filed tax declaration. Banco Popular, it's a lot. E, if you own a business license is required. F, copy of passport with the last migration stamp. So that's Banco Popular. They want a whole lot of stuff from you, right? But as I've explained in some of my comments, there are other options. Now I'm going to pick up this little piece of paper. I went to Bank Reserva and I said, can you give me the requirements in English? She went and looked and she said, no, I don't have it in English, but I can write it down for you. I said, okay, thanks. I got the paper and she wrote it in Spanish. I don't know if you can see that. She wrote it in Spanish, but thank God I read Spanish, so we're okay. So for Bank Reserva, this is what I've told people because I know certain banks are a little bit easier. You need your passport and you need the name and ID of 2 friends who are in good standing with that bank. That's it. Your passport, the name and ID of 2 people, 2 local Dominicans who are in good standing with that bank. They approve you in 3 days. You have to deposit 500 pesos, but most of the time they tell you $500. And that's only because to guarantee you have the account, you know. So for Bank Reserva, your passport, 2 local friends who can give you their ID and are in good standing with that bank, and you have a bank account. So those are the differences in bank accounts here. You do not have to be a resident. You just have to provide certain information to get a bank account. Okay, so went over to banking, and let me see. Was there another bank one here? No. Okay, so there you go. Got your budget. You got your apartment. You're speaking Spanish. You're living abroad. You got your bank account now. These are all things you should be thinking about before you move down. Okay. As I said, I had no one to guide me as far as living here. I learned all of this stuff on my own. I had some friends here and there that the expats that lived here, but they were living in their own lane. They were more worried about, hey, I'm in my lane, I'm good, I'm retired, hey, I'm not doing anything else. Excuse me. So they didn't give me much information. I did learn from some expats. I'm not gonna lie. But the main guys I was around, they were just concerned with living their life. They weren't caring about anything about embracing the culture, how much they spent. I know I got friends who go, hey, I don't mind spending, I got it. It is what it is. But why spend $100 on something that costs $40. I don't know, that's just, maybe it's just me, but that's $60 and go to something else. You know, give the $60 to charity if you want, but don't just blow it because it's there, you know. So for me, I spent all these years here learning, and I'll be honest, I think with the knowledge I know now, had I known it maybe 8, 9 years ago, I would have saved probably about $20,000, $30,000. Because there's a lot of stuff I did, you know, with the American mindset. Oh, I told you guys, I rented a car for a year. Rented a car for 9 months. I was paying this guy's car note, not realizing I could have bought my own car. I was paying rent in certain places because it was furnished. Oh, there you go. Well, how about I go get a cheaper place and buy my own furniture? Now I'm able to get cheaper apartments because I have my own furniture. Furnished apartments cost more. You know, how about I leave the tourist area and go 5 minutes or 10 minutes down the road to the next town and the rent is half the price. These are things I had to learn. You know, investigating prices on certain things. You know, even doing business. I have to argue with people like, hey man, why is that an extra 2 pesos? And it sounds stupid, but that extra 2 pesos at $100 at 100 pounds adds up, man. You know, and I want to know why I'm paying an extra 2 pesos. Where'd that come from? Where'd this charge come from? You know, I pay attention to those things now. On the beach in Playa Ensenada in the Adventure, there was no prices on the menu. That happens a lot because sometimes they change prices with the season. First thing I said to her was, listen, I need to know the price of this, this, and this. The exact price. She looked at me like, oh, okay, well, okay, he's not playing around. She gave me the price of everything. We ordered. I said, how much is the price of those beach chairs? I want some beach chairs. Gave us the price. The beach chairs didn't work the way we wanted them to. The back wouldn't come up. I said, hey, I can't pay for beach chairs I can't use. She wrote it off. You know, you have to know these things. You know, and it's not about being petty. It's about protecting yourself. Because you can go and just bring a bag of money and say, here, take it. Or you can value your money that you've earned, that you work for, and spend it in the right way. The way you go shopping, how you do things, you know? So basically, like I said, living abroad, you want to have all those things in place. You have the bank account info now. You can open a bank account while you're visiting, as two of my buddies did recently. They just went to open an account, but they're not living here yet. They're just visiting. And they're starting the process of depositing money. You know, if you plan on living abroad, I tell you to plan ahead. As I said, I didn't plan. I freestyled everything, but I learned and I'm able to tell you how to go about doing it properly. Okay, so appreciate you guys. I believe we're at 1,500 subscribers, man. That's great. Check the description. Subscribe, share, hit the notification. I'm going to keep giving you more info. Stay tuned for the Paradise Island video. I love this video. It's going to be really different with a lot of fun footage. We spent the day out in Paradise Island and Playa Ensenada. Really nice stuff. I'm really excited for you guys to see that video. Shot with the GoPro with that. So more to come. As I said, living abroad. Hopefully you guys swallow this information and soak it all in. And I appreciate all the support. All right, Mr. Flip Flop, and I'm out.